Hello, Lawrence.
Hello, Arne. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Wonderful.
I'm enjoying the autumn or the fall or whatever you might call it so much
Yeah,
at the moment. It's so nice. It's a bit cold, it's a bit chilly, and you start watching some series and movies again. At least that's what we do. So it's a great time. Also, I'm enjoying the bicycle tours because it's just like it's a bit cold, and I'm not a cold I don't like cold.
you're
That's why
not
I
the
moved to
cold.
Malta, but it's nice.
Yeah,
It's
I'm not a cold guy either. I'm much more. If you gave me a flip between a summer or a skiing holiday, I'll take the beach holiday every day. One thing that's annoyed me in recent years is actually the fact that the autumn or the fall, as the Americans call it, is slowly disappearing, in my opinion. Or at least it's a very short season. It feels as though we go straight from summer to winter a lot of the time. Or at least that the autumn is very, very short. When I was growing up, when I was a kid, autumn was a real thing. Nowadays, it just feels like summer ends September, and by November, it's freezing cold, and you didn't really get an autumn.
well done, Lawrence. Now I'm depressed. Thanks. Thanks for nothing. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is our last news review so far. Now, we really appreciate that you enjoy the show. We appreciate your comments. We know that this is fun, but we also have seen your feedback. And the most fun part is when Lawrence is talking about stuff, when we have some discussions, some monologues, and this is coming thanks to some interesting articles in the news, after all. So, what we thought about is we will upgrade the show. Next week, we will have a show, so we're not gone, don't worry. But we will talk about a chess theme or something related with chess. And we will just see from there how this is going, how your response is, maybe how you're commenting about it, and what you like about it, and all of that stuff. So, thank you for all the nice months with the chess news review, and goodbye. No, but no, we're doing some chess news obviously now. But yeah, this was the special announcement. Dear
Yes.
Lawrence,
Yes.
you may start. Oh, there it was again. Okay, here. What shall we talk about first?
Okay, so you know what? Let's start with the more I don't want to say mundane, that's a bit harsh, but the more
It's the truth.
simple news items from this week, and that's a bit of a tournament review. There
Sure.
have been three tournaments going on of major interest. Let's start with the Sharjah Masters.
Excellent. Yeah.
Which is a tournament I'm very interested in. In fact, I was in touch with the organizers a few years ago, before obviously Corona, and I was going to do some commentary there. Actually, I was going to do Sharjah, and then they had another commentary kind of sorry role, yeah, another role in a tournament down the road as well. There's Sharjah, and goodness, I've forgotten the name. It's not Dubai. What's the name?
I actually don't know, so
Can't remember.
don't ask me.
Another city in the region, but
Hmm.
not far away. And they were like back to back tournaments. It didn't work out in the end because obviously Corona hit and everything else. But it's still a very, very strong tournament, and it still attracts very, very strong players, mostly from the Middle East and Asia. And this year, the tournament winner was a young man who I've played, Amin Tabatabai. He's rated 26-24. He's from Iran, Grandmaster. I believe he's like, I'm actually gonna cheat, but I'm guessing he's 20 years old. I mean, he's a young guy.
Yeah, I think we were covering one tournament where he and Sudlu
Yeah,
were in. Yeah, I think Paham got 14 points and he got 12 from a
yeah.
15 round tournament. So absolutely, both of them absolutely insane
Yeah, exactly. I
and
mean,
young.
he's an insanely talented, gifted young player, and he won the tournament on tiebreak. He didn't win it outright because a few other players tied with him. Pavel Elyanov, the former, or maybe he's still a Ukraine number one, although I can't quite remember.
Yeah.
Salim Saleh from the United Arab Emirates.
Yes,
And
local matador, more or less.
local matador, and his compatriot Parham Maghsoodloo. Talking about Parham, so he also got 6.5. So it was Iran, cleaning up the top places, basically. And I guess, you can see, obviously, the final standings there if you want. A lot of interesting players. You've got Abdus Sattarov, who's been very, very active. You've got Eric Yassi, who I said a few weeks ago, he's rated 2580. The world has gone crazy. He's now rated 2626. That's more like it. You've got Yakubiev, again, another strong Uzbek young player. And you've also got Hans Mocha Niemann.
Now, that's interesting.
Yeah. Now, Hans Niemann is one of my favorite players, or even just people in the world. What a character. I mean, this guy, he's done a bit of streaming. He's very vocal. He's very charismatic. He's only 18 years old. He's already rated 2609 and more now after this tournament. I think he's probably around the 2620 mark. He's only 18. He's only 18. I mean, this is a guy who's fully dedicated to chess. He got his Grandmaster title not that long ago, believe it or not. Was it a year ago? It was something like a year ago only. He's already gone from 2500 to 2600, extremely dedicated, extremely focused on chess. I actually expect really big things from him. And I think he's a name that we need to watch out for. I think he's got the energy, the talent, the dedication to get to 2700 plus. So I think he's going to be part of that conversation in the US. After that, Paravian from Russia, well known, and Raunak Sadwani, another kid I wanted to just talk about. Raunak played a couple of times, actually played him in the Gibraltar tournament a couple of years ago, has gone from your 2450, 2500 player straight to 2600. Raunak must be 14 or 15 as well. I mean, insane. How old is he? Let's have a look. Born in, 15 years old, already rated 2603.
That is
quite
crazy.
Impressive. And then below that, what I found interesting about this table is you've got a lot of old heads, a lot of experienced players. I mean, look at these guys below. Arkady Neidich, once, of course, played for Germany for over 10 years, more. Maybe it was his entire life actually until the swap to Azerbaijan. Jules Moussa from France, Yilmaz from Turkey. How about Nisipianu, of course, representing that German flag. Then you've got Iordachescu, very experienced grandmaster from Moldova. Sebastian Bogner also, and so on. So interesting to see how well the young guns are doing comparatively. They are just so strong. And congratulations to all those guys. And one last thing, talking about Parham Maghsoodloo, he is now in the 2700 club. So that is fact. He is a 2700 player. I think he was there before briefly, but now he is 2706. And
established.
That is, when you lose Fallujah to France, because of course Iran had Fallujah. If Iran had kept Fallujah, we're looking at a team, Fallujah, Maghsoodloo, Tabatabai. I mean, that's already a serious top three, as a young top three.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But maybe those guys go to France sooner or later.
Well, I mean, who knows? It's a really tricky situation, isn't it, politically?
Absolutely.
There is something else. I mean, there's a really nice segue here, and I know I'm talking a lot, but I thought it's...
No, that's what we all want, actually.
Talking about the 2700 club, another young man is back in it, and that is the wonderfully talented and, again, charismatic personality, Jordan van Foreest.
Yes, true.
Wins the Sigeman and Co. tournament, a tournament I've had absolutely nothing to do with in my entire chess career. I've been commentating since the mid-2000s.
Ages.
And ages. I mean, my first commentary tournament's 2007, around there. I've never ever covered the Sigeman tournament. It's been around, but I've just never been involved with it. I would love to, because I love the concept of the tournament. What I love about this tournament is the mix of players that they get in the tournament.
Exactly, yeah.
You know what I mean? Young, old, dynamic, solid. You know, look at the stylistic contrasts between, let's say, Vincent Kmart and Gawain Jones. You know, we're talking about chalk and cheese here in terms of, you know, how they approach the game of chess. Nigel Short.
Yeah, that's great.
You know, Nigel in there, 50 plus years old. Etienne Bacrot, approaching his 40s. And then, of course, the young guys, Van Foyest, Pierre from Denmark, super young grandmaster.
Talented. Yeah, he's playing in a lot of tournaments recently. It wasn't one of his best ones. Actually, he was, kind of, falling a bit back from the rest of the crew.
He was bottom seed, but you know, these little 7 round tournaments, these little round robins, there's something very cute about them, something very romantic. I think it's important that they stay in the calendar, because
True.
You know, when we were growing up reading chess books, you know, these were the tournaments that prevailed, basically. These were the tournaments that you used to read about when all the old masters used to play. It was a round robin tournament. And it was some of the time, it was these really cute ones with just a few players. And on this occasion, it was Joran van Foreest who won the tournament. He even lost his last game to Gawain, which would have left him a little bit salty.
Oh, yeah, true.
Sure. It would have left him a little bit salty to lose that last game, because he was having a phenomenal tournament. I mean, look at that. He was actually on 5 out of 6, crushing. He also re-enters the 2700 club, gets back to 2700, showing some magnificent chess. Shout out to Gawain as well.
Yeah, he did it. We were talking about it, that he had this terrible tournament and that it is now on him to get back. And I think he won the first round, quite lucky. There was a crazy game against Bjerre. And he also won against the leading player Van Foreest and got the 4 points after all.
Yeah, so he gained the 5 points there. He gained 3 against Bjerre. He lost 5 against Sarin. And then with the rest of the draws in the tournament, he's probably actually about even for the tournament, because he's using existing rating of 2684. And that hasn't factored in the fact that he dropped 27 points at the European Individual Championship. So on the next list, he's actually going to be 2650.
Come on, Gawain. You can do better.
Well, he'll bounce back. He always does. I mean, Gawain is just too talented. I mean, he's going to be back there. But there is another Englishman I want to talk about, and that's Nigel Short. Now, Nigel doesn't play classical chess that much nowadays. Who does? Unless you're a young Indian or something like that, right? Or a young American. Nigel, class is permanent, form is temporary. Nigel had a wonderful tournament. To come back, play against all these young guys who are super booked up, super active, to score +1 in this tournament is, a really, really impressive performance. He had some really interesting games. Game against Bacrot especially was extremely interesting.
And I have this, that came to me as a surprise, to be honest. I didn't expect him to be up there with what you just said, like he didn't play that much classical chess. He was commentating more as well. But then, he just showed some class, as you spoken out very well. And then, of course, we have Vincent.
Yeah.
Who, he got...
Vincent had a great little tournament. I mean,
again, a lot of great tournaments in the last weeks and months,
I mean, Vincent, he's going places. He's slowly grinding up that list. I don't know what his live rating will be now, but I guess
should
it's going to be in the
2620, 2630 already. I I think
Yeah,
so.
exactly. 2620, 2630.
Yeah, not long ago he was 2560 or something like that. So he's making big jumps at the moment.
Huge progress.
Yeah,
For his age as well. This is the point. For his
16
age, right?
or
He's still
15,
just a kid.
16 he is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So actually, that's what I wanted to move on to next. Is actually talking about FIDE ratings basically.
All right.
There's a wonderful little article on the ChessBase homepage, which if you are a stats nerd or a stats aficionado, this article by Walter Wolf is going to be really interesting for you. It talks about all kinds of topics. Does inflation or deflation exist? Because there's a really strong argument for both, in my opinion. How has COVID or lack of COVID affected? Lack of tournaments because of COVID affected things. The changes in the K factor used to calculate things. Women in chess, what's going on there? There's even a specific section here on, for example, distribution within Germany. What's been going on there? Who is locally rated? Who has got an ELO rating? Etc. Highest countries with the number of ELO rated players in the world. Russia is obviously leading that, followed very closely by India. China doesn't even show up, by the way, which is very
freaking long article. My gosh,
super long article. How many players have managed to rise above 2,000 ELO who are under 18? So talking about, has there been a general uptrend with the younger players? Is there deflation or inflation? And that's one of my favorite topics, actually.
Yeah.
You can read the article to get it, because there are some people that say, oh, there is inflation when it comes to ELO.
That's what I genuinely thought too, because you see, players of 2,800 were not a big thing in the last couple of years, and then like 4 or 5 people in the last 5-6 years reached that amount, and then there's the amount of 2,700 players, right?
Yeah, so I think there's just so many different variables, isn't there? So that there is that, but you could say that, well, the rating lists are being published more often compared to the old times when they were only published every 6 months. There are more tournaments, so there are more opportunities to play. I was actually always of the opinion that we live in a deflationary environment. And the reason I believe that is because I believe there are a lot of players from, well, a lot of them third world countries that don't have an accurate rating representation.
True.
So, for example, let me just take your typical open tournament in Spain or wherever, where you get a contingent of young Indian players playing. There's absolutely no way that a lot of these guys that I've played over the years are 1,700 rated, right? So they are massively underrated. So, I feel as though actually we live... It also depends, because the elite, if we talk about the 2,800 players, they live in a certain kind of bubble, a lot of them. They very, very rarely play anybody outside of their bubble, right? If you think of the Wesley So's and Anish Giris, how often are they playing 2,300 players or 2,400 players? So if they're playing their own, let's call it super elite level, then the rating, the variance there is not going to be that great. If you were to just make it an open tournament forever, right, everywhere, everything is just an open tournament, I think we would get quite an interesting rebalancing of the system. Because there are lots of young...
Very good point, yeah.
You know what I mean? I think there's a bit of a skew, and I think, well, it's an interesting argument, and I'm not a statistician, I'm not a mathematician. I'm just an idiot, basically. But that's my that is just my feeling. Anyway, very, very, very interesting article. Lots of opinions. I don't think there is a definitive answer, by the way, to that question. So make your own conclusions, but go and have a look at that article. Very nice.
Nice one. Yeah, very, very good. Then we also have, let's talk about it, I guess. You've seen this guy before, probably, and that one too.
I've seen him a couple of times in my life.
And
I've seen him before.
he's actually,
so
it might surprise you, but he has played a couple of tournaments the last year.
Yeah, he's played a bit of chess before.
Yeah, Magnus Carlsen. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, so Magnus Carlsen, the finals of the Meltwater chess tournament, Champions Chess Tour. Obviously, I'd been covering it pretty much for the entire year on my weekly show on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
9 tournaments, and of course, it led to this final. And what was a very interesting thing is that you got bonus points for every tournament you played, right, in these 9 tournaments. And so there was already a ranking table when you came into the finals, and Magnus Carlsen and Wesley So were well above everybody else.
Yeah, I actually didn't know about that because we gave our predictions last week, and that threw me off a little. Because I mean it's an interesting system, and I think it makes sense because it's kind of the work you put in there before. But of course, that's if you have a bonus of 16.5 and then you're Jan Christoph Duda and have a bonus of 0, that's gonna be tough. And it is
exactly. So I mean, basically, when I first looked at the start table, I thought, wow. It's really just a 2-horse race. Magnus Carlsen, Wesley So. Levon Aronian, I believe, had a chance at the time and still does, but not anymore, actually. But at the start of the finals, he did. But now it really is just a 2-horse race. Wesley So, Magnus Carlsen. Remember, it's 3 points for a win in the rapid portion. So there are 4 rapid games. You get 3 points for a win. If it goes to blitz, you get 2 points. And 1 point for the loser. So theoretically, Wesley can still catch Magnus. Wesley still has to play Magnus, I understand. So if Wesley beats Magnus in their mini match, in the rapid portion, he'll actually cut the deficit by 2, and then there's a big fight. But everybody else is just too far away. And Magnus, I said it probably on the show, or I said it somewhere in my show. I said he'd be impossible to stop if he plays any kind of decent chess, and he's done that. He's played really, really nice chess for the most part, and he took apart Hikaru Nakamura. I mean, some of the chess he played was just so insanely good. This rook ending he played against Naka, I mean, if you gave me 5 hours, I wouldn't be able to play like that. He's playing like that in 5 minutes. It's just astonishing how he can make these guys look so bad. And Hikaru, for example, is like one of the best endgame players in the world, like top 5 in my opinion. And he just made him look so average. It was just insane.
It's frightening.
It's frightening. It's just frightening how good he is. And so Hikaru lost to Magnus, his nemesis. He still cannot seem to just... He can't seem to do it against Magnus. Magnus is just his kryptonite, as they would say. He just can't, in any format, classical, rapid, Fischer, random, blitz,
bullet,
even in bullet he gets beaten by
Hikaru and Carlsen.
Carlsen and Nakamura had a big bullet brawl a few years ago now, and Carlsen wiped the floor with him. I mean, you just can't. I mean,
are you serious?
Yeah.
I thought. If
my memory serves me correctly,
I thought Nakamura was one of the best bullet players, and I thought he actually and Firouzja.
I mean, they are. They are. They are.
But Magnus is still one level beyond.
They are.
Whoa.
They are the wonderful bullet players. But there was the Speed Chess Championships, I think 2020 or 2019. But Magnus won that as well.
Jeez, all right. Yes, wait a second. Yeah, that was, but... Oh, yeah, okay, there was some other bullet tournament, I think. But there, Carlsen didn't compete in that one, maybe. Sorry, I'm just a bit into bullet, which is terrible. Bullet is not really that much.
I can't quite remember where.
But it doesn't matter that much. Well, yeah, Carlsen is... I mean, I've been doing some Endgame Magic shows with Carsten Müller recently, and I was asking him the question. I'm not sure if I asked this last time or told this last time, but do you consider Magnus Carlsen being one of the best Endgame players at the moment? And Carsten said probably not even at the moment, but one of all time. And that's a strong statement by Carsten. And when you look at it's just true. Yeah, absolutely.
True. So it's not even controversial. I mean, he's an unbelievable endgame player.
Yeah.
So Magnus in full control, and of course, still many more rounds. You can watch it all on the Play Chess, in Play Chess. If you go to the broadcasts in Play Chess, you'll see it. There'll be more action.
Till the 5th of October or something.
Maybe it's a rest day today. Actually, I can't quite remember.
Oh, now I was hyped.
Let me have a look. Let me just quick look. I'll just make sure, because I do recall there was a rest day.
Should be a rest day, yeah.
And the question is, when is the rest day? And the answer is, the rest day was yesterday.
Haha.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, October 1st, round 6. Yeah.
That's today.
That is today.
Oh.
So he actually beat Hikaru a couple of days ago, so it wasn't. So today, round 6, and the pairings are Magnus is playing Anish. So that's going to be fun. Obviously, these two have a very...
one player who can get an edge, maybe. Who knows? He was quite good against Magnus this year, right?
Yeah, well, yes. Yes. I mean...
Compared to other players.
Anish has had his little moments, but of course they have a lot of back and forth on Twitter.
Yeah, actually, it's more of a Twitter duel. Who would win there and on Twitter?
Who's winning there? That's really interesting. Unclear.
I think Anish is a very, very strong Twitter player.
He's very strong. He's a super grandmaster tweeter.
2,800 on Twitter. Then we also have, I didn't even see that. Simon Agdestein wins the Grand Prix tournament in Kragerø,
yes,
I guess.
He does, but it wasn't a particularly strong tournament. From what
yes, now I remember. I actually saw that as well. Yeah, just the location looked nice, and I remember that. Yeah,
that's where they had their famous, one of their big Magnus Carlsen camps. I think it was for the kayaking World Championships. So they went. This Kragerø is like an island.
I like this image a lot here.
Yeah. Stairs leading to nowhere. Right? Yeah.
Excellent.
Metaphor for my life. There we go. No. The Kragerø won by Sigeman. But there was one more article, wasn't there, that we were going to look at? Let's
take a look. Oh, yeah, man. Steinitz and Lasker.
Yeah, Steinitz and Lasker.
Oh, yeah, let me quickly interrupt for one last thing. Finally, I mean, Corona disrupted Carsten Müller's Endgame Magic a little, but he, as you already know, is back. We made a couple of shows with him, also with Svetlana, and GM Christian Bauer recently was here in our chess space studio. So a very nice, strong episode again with a very strong player. Just on a side note, very nice endgame show again. To learn a lot. I learned a lot in the last couple of shows, I can tell you, because I know nothing about endgames. So Carsten is really helping me a lot at the moment.
There you go.
William Steinitz.
Yeah, so Steinitz.
The very first one.
Yeah, Steinitz, the first world champion. And it's a really lovely little article, actually, because there's a lot about Steinitz I didn't know. You can see his grave there. It's in the US. And what I didn't know is that Steinitz was actually a registered United States player. He was registered under the UK, but he ended up in New York, as did Lasker. And they were actually very close to each other. Quite incredible. And they've got a big grave. I didn't realize he had a big grave, you know, and a sign for it. So it's really nice that he's got that. And yeah, he spent his time in New York. He left, I believe, the UK, got on a boat, as you did in those days.
Yeah.
And went to the US, and the same with Lasker, who escaped the Nazis in the 30s, and also made it to the US. So the US was, you know, and they, you know, so theoretically, actually, one thing that the article says that is funny is you talk about Fischer. When you think about US chess, you say Bobby Fischer, but theoretically, Steinitz was the first American US champion, world champion.
I was actually, I thought that, I kind of learned it like that, actually, that it was a US champion, the very first one, yeah.
Oh, but, that's how you learned it? I didn't learn it like that.
Yeah, but probably, I mean, there might be, it might not have been so clear, but, well, chess is still kind of a little bit of a new thing to me after all. Not that I'm not playing it since more than 35 years, but right. I gained, of course, most of the knowledge in the last 2 years, obviously. So that was one of the things which I was like also surprised by, but then I thought like, oh, okay, that's how it is. Because the embarrassing truth is I thought William Steinitz was a German. Champion.
Yeah, well, he was never. Yeah, he was never German. He
exactly.
Was, he was Austrian. He was born in the Austrian Empire, right?
Yeah. But at least from with the name, I thought like okay, and then I learned about that he went to the U.S. and I didn't know too much of the nationalities of some of the old chess champions or players back then. That was a thing which took a little bit for me. Yeah, Lasker and Steinitz, good friends. That is something also which is or was new to me until today, actually. Do you know actually why there are those stones on all the gravestones here and here? Can you enlighten me?
I can actually, because in Judaism, you do not put flowers on a grave, you put rocks.
Wow, okay, and, that I didn't know.
Steinitz is from a Jewish family, and Lasker too, I believe. I have to double check, Steinitz for sure. And in Judaism, you put a rock on a grave to represent or symbolize eternity. That rock, because flowers die and rocks don't, so it's a kind of symbol of eternity, and that's why you'll see a lot of rocks on Jewish.
And after all, his name was Steinitz, which is stone. After all,
I know. Well, that is the literal.
That goes even one step after that. So there is a chess position on his gravestone. Is it this one or? Do you know?
No, I don't know.
No, me neither, because I cannot really see it. I thought maybe it was in the article. Would be interesting to know. I see a king here and a rook here, and that's a knight, queen. Maybe it's somewhere here. But yeah. Yeah, legendary.
Legendary, and so funny, actually. I've been using a few Steinitz games in my personal lessons this week.
Nice one. Yeah.
Yeah. So the famous one he played against, what's his name? He's got a long, stupid name. Bombardlebane or something like that.
Well, it might not be long, but it's just stupid then after.
Yes. Bombardlebane. There we go. Yeah, Steinitz versus Bombardlebane.
Okay.
That was the game from 1895. Classic, where he does this beautiful pawn sacrifice to get the outpost in the middle of the board. So yeah, Steinitz, R.I.P. It's been a few years, but we'll say R.I.P. anyway. He should be resting by now.
And with this, this is a very, very good point to end this episode. Once again, guys, thank you for your comments. Thank you for enjoying the show, especially on YouTube. You've left a lot of comments. Don't worry,
Great.
We'll still continue. It's going to get better.
Yes.
This will all improve even more and more. So this is actually what more or less you were also wishing for. So I hope to see all of you people next week. Thank you once again, Lawrence. And have a lovely weekend, everybody.
Yep. Cheers, guys. See you next week.
Bye-bye.